Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. RFK Refugees Podcast. Ted here, John here. Not live on a Monday night, unfortunately. Sorry, folks. We're a couple people running full time who also are crazy enough to host a podcast. So sometimes things just get in the way, and we just don't have the energy to go forward with the live shows. We apologize for that. We will be back. Obviously, we will definitely be back next Monday. There'll be a lot of soccer to talk. I'm sure you guys all enjoyed the Champions League that was today. I enjoyed the Henny Derby on Saturday. John, how was your weekend, my friend?
I did not enjoy the Champions League today. I'll tell you that because I have as I said before, I have re-downloaded the gambling app, and I should not because I have horrible. I should in fact just bet the opposite of what I think will happen because I almost inversely that's what I can do. Other than that, pretty good weekend. We've got some, I think some probably good to talk about on the spirit side. Maybe some. Medium, like very, very medium conversation for DC United, but it's a very important game coming up tomorrow night, and I will be in the fancy pants seats on the field level because they were for some reason on sale. So I went and bought them.
Did you go to the game on Saturday? Were you there, or were you watching on the TV?
Watching on the old TV.
Watching on the old TV. Okay, yeah. So obviously DC United 0-0 draw. Washington Spirit 2-0 victory. I will mention that it is looking like the sadness of my soccer teams and playoffs, and 2020 was a weird year. I think the Kickers probably deserved to make a playoff spot in a normal year, but they are on the cusp of making the playoffs. DC's in a dogfight, and the Spirit made the playoffs. So good news for my soccer teams. That was an incredible. I do want to talk a little bit about the Henny Derby and just the incredible experience. Want to give a shout out to my friend Elliot Barr, who was named the Fan of the Year by the River City Red Army. Does an excellent job with the River City Red Army podcast. I know there is some DC Richmond crossover, maybe ever so much, even though my certain co-host likes to support the other side, but his side lost. So that
I
makes me
was devastated. I was so devastated I didn't even know the game was happening. So I really felt bad about it. I cried all weekend.
So we thought a little bit. It was an awesome game. That game gave me. I think it was the highest attended game. So I know the Kickers are probably really pumped about that. It was probably the most exciting Richmond Kickers game I have ever been to. One of the more exciting games I've ever been to.
The video looked great. The video you posted, it looked a lot more people than I, in my mind, went to Kickers games. 3,500,
I think, was around the attendance. Usually they get around 2,000. So there was definitely a push to try to get people out to this game. And I think a lot of it has to go to I think a lot has to go to Elliot Barr. I can't remember the person in Madison, but kind of started off this sort of Henny Derby and Madison fan. There were Madison fans that traveled. So this has become kind of a League One derby. That exists between two teams that live in very, very opposite ends of the country. And I think it's gotten a lot of people up. I think a lot of people have sort of come for the experience. There were a lot of people that visited down. And I think that's great to see in a lot of ways. And it was an incredibly fun game. I was coming off a cold, so I kind of powered through going to the game. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, let's first talk about the news that dropped today. Long rumored news that I think finally has become official. The FIFA World Cup is now going to a 2-year structure after 2026. John, what are your thoughts about this?
This was Arsene Wenger's big thing for a while. He was sort of like one of the key drivers for advocating for an every 2-year World Cup. I think it's a horrible idea for a bunch of reasons.
Oh yeah.
So for a bunch of reasons.
No one likes this. No one likes this.
Players hate it. I'm trying to think of the two players that Pedri for Spain, and there was another player that sort of played. So I think maybe Mason Mount. Like the number of games they played because of international tournaments and the full season and everything else, they just played an absurd amount of games, and their bodies are breaking down, and it's only going to get worse. Things are special when they're special. Things are not special when they're common. So moving the tournament to every 2 years devalues it on that front. It's all about media. It's all about making up the money lost in the last couple of years for these soccer teams and for these large associations that apparently just need more money. Whatever that will fix it. whatever it is, we'll just fix it by having more of the World Cups. What do you think?
I mean, it's bad. I don't know. I can't imagine MLS likes this. I'm sure if you asked Don Garber, they'd be like, oh, we support the growth that will come to the United States by having a World Cup more often and everything. I mean, they have to hate this because now it becomes a question. The Gold Cups, I think, is still every 2 years, or maybe they've moved that. You have Nations League. You have all of these other international-based tournaments that have now ballooned, and you're going to stage a 48-team World Cup every 2 years. It's just ridiculous. It's becoming almost something has to give. I don't see how you can fit all of these things into an international calendar. I'm not sure. Every club has to hate this. Every club has to dislike what is happening right now, because these are the players that they are going to be dropping the millions of dollars for. They're going to be paying a majority of their salary on the men's side, at least. The women's side's a little different, and how all that is structured. At least for the U.S. women.
Does it make the move to playing over the winter more required? So if you're having this sort of like all tools down tournament every 2 years instead of every 4 years, where you're either going to play through it and you're going to lose hopefully your best players. You're going to have much less media and fan attention. All those things that sort of are against that. Do you think that makes the transition to a different calendar more likely and sort of to match up with everyone else?
I don't see. I will probably be surprised, and I'm sure they will keep the calendar that they have. But I really don't see how you can avoid it at this point, because everybody, the biggest problem that MLS still has to deal with is that they still play certain games through international breaks. Now, it's not as bad as it used to be. There were full weeks of games scheduled for every team during international breaks. Now it's very much a choice of the team and kind of how the schedule. But I mean, right now you're dealing with, and then also they, MLS announces the Leagues Cup where they're going to take a whole month off. How does that fit in if every year you're going to have to also deal with international tournament? You're going to have
Cup is now also every other year. Update.
Yeah, but again, that's now driving Champions League qualification for CONCACAF and everything like that. So, I mean, this is a mess, and I don't know. I don't know how MLS, the leagues respond. I don't know how the national teams respond. And I think, I wonder, like, what will be, if there's going to be some fallout from players. Will players just be like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to play in this, this FIFA World Cup every 2 years. I mean, I just can't do it. I'm going to retire from international play. Something has to give here, because this is, when are players supposed to have a break?
Never.
When are they supposed to get an actual off season now? If you have a top player, he's going to be playing league matches from August to May, and then he's going to be playing June to July, and then he gets right back into his season. There are going to be injuries. There's going to be players piling up. Careers are going to be shorter. And this is all just for the clear option. There's no competitive advantage here. It's all about money.
So, and also, where those games of rest are going to come. They're not going to come in the summer. They're going to come for the club teams that are paying their wages. They'll be like, well, I had to play for my country, and FIFA requires you to release me, so I'm going to go. But then I've got a contract with you, but I need some rest. And so therefore, the beginning of seasons, similar, like it's happened sometime in the EPL when there's, and probably in other leagues too, but this is the one I follow and know more about. But after the Euros, usually the first month of the season, those players were not in camp. They don't feature. You're getting a lot more rotation in the squad. But the problem, granted, now DC United's not going to have too many, would not have too many players playing in a World Cup. Maybe a couple, hopefully, max two or three, maybe. So depth for them, not so big of a problem. But in other places,
the thing is that, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, John, but the thing to think about is that
the expanded
you're talking about the expanded field of 48 teams.
Yeah, you're right. Costa Rica,
you're going to see. Yeah, your Costa Ricas, your Honduras, your El Salvadors are going to have a much more likely chance of featuring in these games. If you're and then you're talking also about South America as well, getting more.
So I like that
as well.
I do like the expanded thing. That's the only good thing about this. I do like having some. Now they're not going to win, right? Probably. I mean, likely they're probably not going to win. Mathematically, they're less likely to win. But anything can happen. That part is good. Keep it every 4 years. Expand the base a little bit. So let countries that never had a chance, understanding that you're again sort of diluting the specialness of what was there before, and qualification becomes lower stakes. But if you're going to do something that is diluting it, at least that at least creates opportunities for Cinderella stories that weren't there before. That's okay. Every 2 years, though, I think is indefensible on any front.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what this does. I mean, I don't know what this does about the Euros. I mean, my biggest thing is talking about every year there's going to be an international tournament. You're
Nations League.
20, and you have Nations League. I think this might kill that.
Yep.
I think this might be the end of that. Or Nations League just becomes the qualifier for the World Cup.
Yep.
That I could see happening. And they're like, you know what, we're just going to do it this way. But again, I think that gets into a whole other issue.
It is a mess that they are creating of their own doing that they didn't need to do. That is clear.
Yeah, exactly.
They've created a big problem for themselves, and now they got to figure it out.
Exactly. We'll see. I've seen situations like this where they're like, oh, we're going to do this. And then they kind of walk it back. Oh, no, never mind. You know, we're going to walk it back.
We didn't want to mess with Nations League. We were going to do it, but then we realized that we just spent all that money on cool branding for Nations League. So we've got to back it up.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's talk. Let's kind of shift gears. Let's shift more to the near rather than the far future. Local concern. We have DC United 0-0 draw to Nashville, facing suddenly a slew of injuries again. I think we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yep.
John, you kind of watched this live. I put it on while I was trying to focus on work and at least get a little bit into it. And watch the game and at least have a little bit of things to say about it. I was at the Kickers game, so I did not watch it live. What were some of your impressions? I don't know if you had a chance for a repeat viewing.
I have not. Yeah, few and far between opportunities. I think Nashville is known for their ability to sort of lock it down. And normally, DC United, even when they face teams like that, they'll still concede. They have only drawn, I think is it 4 times on the year, 4 or 5.
12 wins, 12 losses, 4
right.
or 5 draws.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate. Bill Hamid once again saves the day. I think in the 80th minute or 82nd minute, there was a chance for Nashville to score on the near post. He kept that out. There was a shot off the post in the first 15 minutes by Ola Kamara. But other than that, it was largely sort of go ahead.
Though there was an opportunity, probably the best opportunity in the game
30th?
that actually forced a save was Russell Canouse getting in on a header from a set piece opportunity.
Yep.
I will say though that for me positively defensively, this was probably the best defensive performance we've seen from this team. CJ Sapong is a normally like United killer. I'm sure at least 30 to 40% of his total goals his career have come from punishing DC United, and he was basically kept in a bottle the whole game. It was kind of funny. You watch the broadcast. I think when he got subbed off, they were like, "Oh yeah, CJ Sapong played in this game." Usually, we're talking about him being on the score sheet, but he was really a non-factor. They bottled up Mukhtar. I don't think Mukhtar got anything.
Just
that one shot. Correct.
They only had 2 shots on goal. I think it was a good performance by DC United from defensively. I do think that Nashville was setting out to get a draw on the road. They're based on their position on the table. It was not as important to them to get 3 points. DC United really would have liked it. Really would have made their days a little bit less stressful here in the next 4 games. But like you alluded to, injuries continue to be a problem. We did get to see Adrian Perez come back from a long-term injury from a broken foot. I just found out today that Roman Abila also had a broken foot for the time he was out.
Oh wow!
Unless I misread that, but maybe it would be a very quick recovery if that was the case. Let me quickly, but either way, that was an opportunity for them to. I don't want to say this was the better opportunity of the two. You're facing 1 and 2 in the East, here in this week. So I think that out of the 2, maybe that would have been the one that you're more likely to win at home. New England may be a tougher task, but Nashville just decided to make that not possible. It's a good thing to face that, right? In the playoffs, you're going to have teams be able to, the MLS Cup playoff format has changed so many times. I don't quite remember now where we're currently situated as far as home and away legs in the early stages. Does that still exist?
No, there's no more home and away. It's all single game.
Thusly, you probably will not find teams setting up like this against DC United. That would probably not be the way. If they do get into the playoffs, they will probably be facing teams that are going to more likely bring it to them. But either way, I think that it's good that some of the players who were out got an opportunity, and you would have liked to seen DC United maybe eke 1-0 win out, but they've got another chance here in 24 hours.
I think this game signified to me that as much as maybe we had this idea that maybe we would get a chance to host a playoff game or to get a home playoff game in that first round, if we finish third or fourth, I think right now Nashville's clear and far away. Philadelphia has rebounded. Orlando has started to rebound, and I'm trusting Matt Doyle in what he has said, but he says Orlando's schedule coming up is pretty weak as far as their opponents. So he's projecting they will be fine. Atlanta is competitive. It's going to be I think we all have this team now as kind of comfortably in the playoffs. Right now, I think there is still a chance they can miss the playoffs. They do not have an easy schedule coming up, a schedule that maybe in August looked a little bit easier than it actually is, because New York is still a good team. They got them on the road. Obviously, we have New England's good, so I'm overlooking that game for now because we know they're good. It's a home game. You expect them to get a win. I think they can survive with a draw, but it puts more pressure on the next. If they can figure out a way to get a win, I think it would go a long way.
Gives them a margin of error. It gives them a margin of error if not. Although similarly, just like Nashville, New England has this thing in a walk. So it'll be interesting to see how much they've got no injuries for this game, no questionable, no nothing. Everyone's available. So you might see some rotation here in a game that does not mean as much to them as DC United on the road midweek. Something to consider, and we'll find that out. We'll find that out 90 minutes before kick.
There's a question as to how much Bruce Arena cares about he cares about the Supporters Shield / points record.
Yeah,
he is well and clear of both of the Shield. Whether he cares about the points record is another I think another question.
Yep.
But with regards, it'd be interesting to see what happens with this game. But I mean, looking ahead, they've got New York City on the road. There is some talk, hey, this is the first game at Yankee Stadium that DC is going to play this year. Last game was at Red Bull Arena. The field's tight. It might serve DC well in this game. But New York City is a good team, and that was always going to be a tough game. They have slid down to 8th. That just shows you how crazy things have been in the Eastern Conference. That New York. And then you've got 2 home games against New York and Columbus, which a month ago would look like pretty solid opportunities for them to pick up 3 points, and you would expect 3 points out of this game. You still do, but Columbus has had a little bit of a resurgence. They've sort of kind of pulled themselves back into the playoff hunt. They're still kind of on the outside looking in, 4 points back, but they're definitely still in the hunt. And New York has had a really big resurgence. They've had actually one of the best records. So that's going to be a team that's going to be hungry to look at DC as an opportunity to leapfrog them. And then you, of course, then wrap up on the road for Toronto, Toronto is not more said they've been terrible. They're still terrible. I think right now what I'm looking at this team is I just want to make sure that by that last game, we control our destiny. Because I think regardless of how our road record's been, you should expect Toronto is now your easiest game, in my opinion, of those remaining games.
For sure.
You should expect to go into Toronto and pick up a win. That is an absolutely expected win that you need to have.
They've got nothing Toronto's to play for. It's
pasted them 7-1 at home. You should at least be able to do 3-1. They have not improved. They have maybe had some flashes, like where it's kind of like a corpse when they have that little bit of they kind of flat, like they get a little bit of a heartbeat for a second, but they are dead, and DC should absolutely take care of them.
I agree with you. Yeah. And let's talk about the injuries too, because I think it's important. So for this week, Brendan Hines-Ike still listed as out. Obviously, I think that I don't think he's going to beat the clock there on that recovery. I think he started to run, but he's not going to have enough time to really get any sort of game fitness in. Yordi Reyna and Edison Flores out until the season finale, November 7th. So that is a problem for a couple reasons.
Best case scenario on that, by the way.
Right.
Best case scenario.
So, and Edison Flores, he's been injured a lot, so I have enough data on this. He does not perform well right away from returning. He needs a couple games in the side to really get things going because he's not that kind of player. I think he's got to feel game flow to be able to contribute. Yordi Reyna would have been a great player to be playing right now. I think he brings when he's healthy, which is most of the time. Usually, he's not been that injured that often. He has a skill set that's different than some of the other players on the team, but unfortunately, he's not available. So you're really saying the rest of the team has to pull the wagon across the line to get into the playoffs, and then hope that these weapons are ready. Paul Arriola should be ready next week against Red Bull. Fingers crossed. He has been in and out of the side on the national team side and also with DC United. Tough year. I think that is to be expected on a full season, sort of still coming back. I think he probably from a knee perspective, he's recovered there, but you get a lot of muscle injuries sometimes when you are recovering from a major injury like that. Your body is just not necessarily ready and wired for it. So that's a challenge. And the thing I wanted to share was a quote from Hernan in Spanish from the last press conference about injuries. Mario Amaya asked him, how important is it to have players like Nigel Roberta and Adrian Perez in the late stretch? What does it mean to have them back from injury? Hernan says, yes, they are recovered, but they're not 100% physically fit to play. Yes, we got them back, but they need match fitness and time to feel good, and there is no time. I'm happy to have them back, but frustrated to know in 5 games the season is over. This year, some of our guys have missed a lot of games. I think that is something we need to analyze, from how we do our physical profiles, the manner we recover our players, and how we work with them on and off the field. I don't think it is normal to have so many players lose so many games which the club is paying a lot of money. It is an evaluation we will make at the end of the year, but right now we must focus on the next game, which comes in 3 days. We must maintain positive because everything is possible and it is in our hands. So I think I obviously the second to last paragraph is the interesting one there. I thought the physical profiles one is interesting. So what players are we looking for in the future? Is that will the way that we're going to play and the demands that we put upon these players' body change who we look for? I'm wondering if Nigel is sort of a thought there. Sort of they brought him in and he had long-term scar tissue in his hamstring, I believe. He's had, I think, 2 or 3 injuries this season where he's been unavailable for certain different things. So I'm wondering if that's something he's thinking about. Probably Edison Flores has got to be on his mind, where he's talking about sort of just, players that are being paid a lot of money by the team. And also Paul, too. So you feel for him in a way, because every coach deals with injuries, but this team has so thin a margin for moving on past those injuries and backfilling. This team was excited about Adrian Perez coming back. Adrian Perez is making like $45,000 or $50, whatever the minimum is. That's where we're at, right? Like, so it's an old story. Everyone's tired of talking about injuries. Hernan is certainly tired of talking about it, but it is something this team has to look at. It is something that has cost this team points in the standings, without a doubt.
And I think this is something that the team needs. This is constantly an issue with DC. This has never not been an issue for years. I'm gonna say even going back to the good days of like 04 to 07.
The old sports hernia epidemic that the team used to have.
The sports hernia, the hamstring injuries, they were all there. And, I'm not going to sit here and say every single injury is linked to this, but the lack of a dedicated facility for recovery, for having the necessary means to have recovery, that there is I'm sure there is some relationship between why New England, despite the fact they play all their home games on turf, which is normally very heavily, they have that really nice training facility that they built. And that can go a long way to having players recover, to ensuring you have the necessary abilities and the facilities, and also having the training staff. I think there needs to be a massive investment from DC in training and keeping these guys healthy. I think also, I wonder if Hernan is looking at this chance to see, okay, I came into this situation, there was a huge issue, my idea, with fitness and these guys and how they're behaving in the off season. Well, now, we're going to get into that off season. Let's, I'm going to instill my abilities of trying to keep these guys fit. We use this off season as an ability to get guys healthier. I don't know. But I think he is looking at, the player I would look at is Edison Flores. He has not had a consistent 5-6 months where he's gone without an injury. And he picked up another one, again, playing 69 minutes down in Peru. And I think at this point, you got to start to look at, you brought this new coach in. This was Edison Flores' chance, and I don't think he's really taken it. He's had a couple flashes of good things, and I would not be surprised if the team just says, you know what, whatever it takes, if we have to take a huge cut in how much we paid for him versus what we're going to get back, let's cut the fat, or let's cut it off now. let's give Hernand a chance to go find a designated player that he wants, and a guy who can come in and change a game.
Yep, agreed.
We'll see. We'll see.
I think you're right.
I think that was the one. The other interesting part was that he was brought up about about a certain player, a certain other Argentine, Yamil Assad, who was not in the 18 at all. I think that is there's something going on there. I don't know if we'll ever figure out what it is.
I think he'll be gone. That's for certain at the end of the year. That is no doubt at all.
Yep. He's a guy you would have thought beginning of the year you hear about the team. Well, Yamil's probably playing right then. He's got to be out there, probably doing some moves. Nope, he's not even in the 18. Moses Nyman not in the 18 either. I am hopeful that is for very different reasons. I am hopeful there is no tea leaf reading there. We've had some. I'll say we've had some players who play a couple good games and then they start to get a little bit too big for their britches and they think they're hot. They're God's gift to DC United, and then suddenly they're gone. And I won't say which player, but I think everybody knows which player I'm talking about with regards to that. So I'm hopeful that's not the case here because we've talked with Nyman. Seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Seems like he really wants to be here. But we'll see. That was an interesting one. But I think the more upsetness maybe about Yamil Assad. So
and then also
tough stretch.
Yeah, and then we heard too I'm told this was a recycling of the rumor, but Red Bull Salzburg was looking at Kevin Paredes. I remember that was before, but it sort of recirculated now, maybe potentially into the January window as something that's going on there. Paredes, obviously, of those two players, him and Nyman, has been getting the most consistent playing time. He is essential. He's an essential player in the starting 11 if he's fit. I don't, what's a problem for us to deal with after this season? The good thing is he didn't get sold in the summer, and he's got this run. So we'll at least get a chance here, maybe, hopefully, to see what he can do in the playoffs. And then the last DC United thing I wanted to round off on that you tweeted about on the Twitter on our Twitter account about Bill Hamid finally passing Thornton for, was it 5th overall in the clean sheet race.
See, I thought that was you. That must have been producer. Brian.
Producer Brian was taking care of it. 6th in clean sheets here. 77 clean sheets in 264 appearances. So if you sort of extrapolate that out, he is on a rate that is better than almost everyone above him. Ramondo played a lot of 514 games for Ramondo to get 154 clean sheets. So yeah, that's a very similar pace to Bill. So I don't know, that's a crazy level of longevity there that Nick Ramondo had in Salt Lake. But either way, and Brian pointed out too, sort of like the opportunities that he's had at the national team level. I think, now that I know that was neither you nor I think we both would admit that the door is firmly closed. There's like 9 latches on it. There are unfortunately too many goalkeepers that are excelling on a different level in different places, and that matters to coaches, and it's just the way it goes. But I'm happy he's here. I hope he has a run as long as Nick Ramondo, because I can't imagine anybody else in net, and I wouldn't want anyone else to be in that spot.
Again, I will say, Nick Ramondo Bill Hamid is 30. So, right now, when you talk about goalkeepers, they age very differently from, your run-of-the-mill. Really, you look at Nick Ramondo, he really didn't start to get the accolades as a great MLS goalkeeper until his RSL days. I think pretty much well into his early to mid 30s. That's really when people started to recognize.
Well, his team wasn't good until then, so he was playing on guard. Well, sort of Bill Hamid, kind of what Bill's doing.
Yeah. So I do think we will look at Bill Hamid. He will be obviously. If he continues on this path, if he gets as many saves, he should still absolutely be a consideration for the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame.
Club legend.
I will beat his. I will beat his drum just as vigorously as I beat the drum to get Jaime Moreno on the ballot. And I hope I think we've got at least maybe a little less than a decade more of Bill Hamid in goal. I don't see this team moving on from him. Nope. Keep him in there. He's going to be a staple. I think right now, the European, I'm sure if another European team comes calling, I'm sure he would not say no, but I think it's going to be a different scenario now. I think he wants to be here. And I think he wants to try to win a trophy for DC. And I think an MLS Cup at some point in those, I'm projecting seven years as like a max here.
Okay.
So 7 more years of Bill Hamid.
Ramondo retired at 40. So that's the and you know the long laundry list of goalkeepers in U.S. history who played, and Casey Keller comes to mind, like Brad Friedel. We make them to last. Tim Howard, they all kind of just keep playing into their late 30s, and then maybe last thing on DC United, more of a page 5 or page 6, not page 5, a page 6 gossip thing. Hernan Losada and his girlfriend have become public based on Instagram. Or a bunch of different stuff on Instagram. But the thing that was notable about that, if you've not had a chance, I'm going to make sure that I get her name right. But she has got a very impressive CV. I'm not sure if you checked it out, but her name is Evelina Cabrera. She founded the Argentinian FA for women and is now a coach additionally. On top of that, so Hernan has done very well for himself there. Very, very accomplished woman. She's done a bunch of other stuff too. Check her out. I saw Grant Wall tweeted about it too, so now it's very much out there. But congrats to both of them. That's as gossipy as we get here.
Yep.
I'm following her now on the show account. I just threw the follow on there. We'll see if we get a follow back.
Yeah, I think I did. The
you
follow
did. I just saw you were on there too. So we did it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, good to see. And but yeah, let's talk about a team that is definitely going to the playoffs.
It's done. It's
and
clinched.
That is
the work is done.
The Washington Spirit. We get some good news. They going to the Oil Reign, getting a 2-0 victory. That was just, for me, that was an absolutely that's the type of performance that I think they have those types of games in the playoffs. I think Oil Reign is ahead of them, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
They're like. Yeah,
they had not lost for quite a while, a couple months, I believe. Mm-hmm. So yes, that was a huge victory for them.
One game left, and they are still very much they could sneak into that second place. It also really makes you wonder, their gap is 3 points with the Oil Reign, and they were gifted a 3-0 victory via the forfeit.
Yep,
really makes you wonder, what this team could have been. This is a team that if they're able to keep the core together, if they're able to continue to get better, this is, in my opinion, a NWSL powerhouse in the making here in Washington. And I really hope we also got the news that officially there is a sale going on for the Washington Spirit. Unclear as to who. There is certainly
the most important question, really. I think.
Yeah, as to who. My hope, I had a kind of a glass half full view that, Michelle Kang's still out there. I feel like if she knew that there was a sale happening and she had no chance of being any involved in this, that she would, anybody I feel like would just kind of say, you know what, I'm done. This is over. I've been treated horribly, but she's still out there. She's still going to games. She's still spending time with the team. So I have to hope that she is still, if she is not the seller, she's at least has communication with the seller and hopefully will be more involved with future operations with the club. We'll see. We still have not heard who this club is being sold to. What we hope it is not the club that is moving, that it wants to move this club. But we'll have to wait and see kind of what the final result is to that. But obviously talking about the game, goals. I forget who scored the first goal. Look up
Taylor Almer. She is, I believe, was signed as a replacement player. Yes, in July, and scored her first NWSL goal, and it was well taken. Volley from the top of the box, sort of a ball that was bouncing around, I believe, or across from the left hand side. Got her off to a great start, and honestly too, when they beat North Carolina, I was thinking on this short turnaround that the Oil Reign game was a punt, and we'll see how it goes. Andy Sullivan wasn't available from the start. That was a concern due to injury that she picked up, I believe, at the end of the Courage game or in the middle of the Courage game. But that was not the case.
No, yeah, they played really well, and again, Ashley Hatch sealing the game off with an absolutely excellent, well taken strike.
Yeah, certainly not her brand of goal usually. I don't want to call her like a Peter Crouch-esque scorer of headers exclusively. But that was probably, I don't think she's scored from outside the box so far this year. Maybe one of her, I believe, now league leading 10 goals. Check me on that. But certainly, great to have that. Great to have that in her locker that I didn't know that she did. Like you said, this team could have been even better, and they are now succeeding in spite of only, I would say, themselves only with the COVID situation. Only that was in some ways potentially at least one player sort of self-inflicted some damage there. Not Devin Kerr, but some other player, we don't know who. But also all of the off the field stuff they had no control over. The fact that they are still winning games is phenomenal. Chris Ward taking over for Richie Burke, a coach that no one had their eyes on, sort of as someone who could fill that spot. No one now. He's undefeated as a Spirit coach. Everyone was talking about who they're going to fill Richie with. Are they looking for a coach right now? No one's talking about that right now, and they definitely shouldn't, because this has been a wonderful sort of righting of the ship for Chris and the team. But yeah, I think the sail looms over even the success, even getting to the playoffs. The sail looms over the team for, are they going to still be here? The fact also that I think you might have talked about this on Twitter, or might have been producer Brian. December is after the expansion draft. It's after free agency. It's after a bunch of things that are not free agency, but you know what I mean, like player acquisition windows. So what could he do?
Come on, John. Are you saying that Steve Baldwin has a history
of rage trading
moves?
Yeah,
of
no
rage trading.
No,
that is. My hope is that there is some agreement to not do that, and that, hey, let the new owner make the decision here as to what he wants to do. My hope is that if Ben Olsen has any sway, he's saying, please do not rage trade anybody. No, you're not doing this. He has stepped away from the day-to-day operations. I don't know. My hope is that doesn't happen, because I would hate to see, him. I'm sure there've been more vocal players behind the scenes. It feels like maybe the idea of coming out as a collective was a way to kind of, you can't trade all of us. So we're not going to say who was the most vocal about what's been going on. But I think you pointed out Chris Ward. Does Chris Ward remain the head coach? Does he get the full head coaching gig in your eyes?
I think it depends on the sale. I think it depends on who comes in. It's hard to say without knowing sort of who's looking at. It'll be tough. He makes his CV is not as impressive as somebody they're likely to want to bring in, but you cannot argue with his results. I think he's got a strong case for staying on and seeing what he could do with a full season and sort of an opportunity to sort of put in the ideas that he has. But also, I can also see this team going a different direction. Particularly, Michelle Kang is the owner and gets an opportunity to sort of put things in the way that she wants. She has made a lot of statements about the need for women in positions of power in the organization to sort of counteract the last however many years here at the Spirit, and also women's sports in general. So I think that may have something to do with it. They're gonna want to approach that in a different way, maybe philosophically, than another group. We'll see. He's done a great job. Whatever happens, I hope that he's able to get another head coaching opportunity somewhere else, because this is no Chad Ashton like couple games at the end of the Ben Olsen era opportunity. This is an extended run, and the team has looked excellent.
Yeah, they've looked even better than they were under. And I think we talked, before the Richie Burke era, we talked about how good this team looked and how competitive they were. They looked even better, which even more undersells how much of a problem Richie Burke was up and down the roster. We've seen players that maybe weren't having the best starts to the season suddenly look a whole lot better and look more like they are really big contributors. I think Anna Halford had a rough start to the season. Suddenly Richie Burke comes in, Richie Burke is gone, and suddenly she looks like an absolute world-class player out there. So I think there's a lot to be said about, I think, this season and what this team has accomplished. They have one more game. I almost had to check myself, because I feel like I've got so many other games I'm trying to keep track of. One more game, an actual home game at Audi Field against the Houston Dash, Sunday, October 31st at 2 p.m. They have a chance to get a bye. There is wild. They own Despite getting handed that 3-0, they have their two road wins against the OL Reign. They hold the head-to-head. OL Reign are paying FC Kansas City, who are at the bottom of the table. Don't think I need to say that. So it is very unlikely, but if FC Cincinnati, Kansas City can pull off a shocker and the Spirit win, they will be in second.
They have won.
Kansas
City has won a couple games. They're on a bit of, for what that would constitute for them a streak. Adriana French has come and really helped them solidify their defense. They're not conceding as many goals as they were before, so that's good for them. Houston, it's a winnable game at home. They have a long international break here. Hopefully, they've returned everyone back healthy because there's, I believe, 5 or 6 players that are on duty. So, yeah, they're in the playoffs. That's a guarantee. So we've got at least one team that we cover, sort of, with a postseason opportunity. We'll go wall to wall on that. I'm sure we'll make sure that we have as much coverage as we can possibly have on it. But congrats to the team for overcoming a bunch of ridiculous adversity, and we hope that all the national team players do well and they come back and we beat the Dash and get a bye, and that's great. Seeding. Well, the problem is all the team. It's basically
sorry.
No, wrong.
I should mention Gotham FC actually have 2 games in hand over everybody. So in theory, they went out. They would move ahead of OL Reign and the Spirit for that bye. So I should mention that out because NWSL makes total sense. Now they will be playing during the international break, so we're curious to see how they're impacted. They've got at least a few players I know that are on that are national team players. So be curious to see how that impacts. They actually play Friday, October 22nd against Kansas City. Then Thursday, October 28th against Racing Louisville before closing out. Also against Racing Louisville. Please, schedulers, can you please just by the time you have the final game, everybody should be where they are. That's not here nor there.
Also, get ready for the moved NWSL final to Louisville, which is also on an MLS playoff window, or at least decision day, I believe is the. So that's unfortunate from a scheduling perspective. We will make it work on our end, but it is good that they are no longer playing in Portland at 9 a.m. That is an unmitigated success for the players to have that moved, but maybe the weekend and time window was not great to begin with even.
Yeah, and a lot of fans. There was a lot of talk. I think a lot of people were upset that they had either bought a flight or they had bought a plane, and it's unfortunate, and an NWSL shouldn't have made that decision. They should have realized the stupidity of playing a game at 9 a.m. and what that would do. And
they were the only ones who bid. So to defend Portland, which doesn't need to necessarily be defended, apparently they were the only franchise to go forward with a bid for the final. So it was one of those things where Louisville was supposed to host last year, but there wasn't a final. So that they opened it back up. I guess Louisville wasn't interested, and then Portland stepped up and said that they would host the final. I think just sort of like an imperfect situation that they didn't do a good job communicating around, and then like you said, there were a lot of people who booked travel plans. I think someone said it before, like WOSO fans are insane. Like as soon as the date and time was booked, people were on Google Flights, like throwing their money in, make sure that they would be there. So those people obviously have to figure out their plans. But I think overall, better for it to be on grass, better for it to be in the middle of the day, local time, and hopefully the Spirit are playing in it.
Yep.
If they are playing in it, how far of a drive is it? It's too far, right?
It's
like 12 hours.
It's a bit of a drive. Yeah. It's I'm trying to think because I've driven out to in Tennessee. I guess that would be a little bit more south. So you're definitely it's probably like maybe an hour past like driving to like Blacksburg or something like that. I don't know.
If gas wasn't so high, I would say let's dip into the Patreon kitty and a fun trip out there. But I think it might bankrupt us.
It might. It should be good to see that the game has moved to a more reasonable time. Still on CBS, which I think is still in a non. I feel like there was a lot of hand wringing about that. 8 hours, 49 minutes from
We could
Richmond.
do that. We could do that. We could make that happen.
We could see.
We could live tweet it.
Yeah. We could definitely see about that. I'm not sure.
Ted's out. Ted doesn't want to do it. Any guest co-host?
I have a higher authority I need to appeal that to. I'll just say that.
Fair enough.
As far as whether I would do that or not. Yeah, I guess that would be. Anything else we want to cover? Anything else we want to talk about?
Nope. I think I want us to win, and I hope you guys see me on TV because I think I'm like in the first row on the quiet on the TV side. So
should
go ahead.
We should mention 18,000 fans at the game against Nashville, which I think is a non-insignificant. It's not a sellout. It's not 20,000. It's not a full house, full packed house. But I think it does undersell my point that I've always said that winning. When this team is fun and this team is out here winning, people want to show up. We don't need a Wayne Rooney character. Maybe makes that 20,000 a sellout every game with how this team is playing. But in my opinion, it's not necessary to get people in DC and in the surrounding area to care about this team. If they know this team is winning, they know this team is there's an intelligent soccer base around here, and they just want to see a winning team. They want to be out here for a winning team. It's the same with the Nationals. It's the same with the Capitals. It's the same if the Wizards ever figure it out. I'm not holding my breath there.
Nope, shouldn't.
But when the teams come out and they and win and do well, people show up. People want to show up. People want to watch a successful team, and that's always been the case in DC. Always been the case in DC. So that I just wanted to drop that little nugget in there. I think we're in if this team can continue, and the offseason discussion is going to be. In the past, we've seen this team not build on success. They were always really bad, then they'd be really good, then they'd be okay, then they'd be kind of bad, and then they'd be really bad. That's kind of been the trajectory of this team. It's always been an up and then very slow down and then crash and then back up again. So I want to see this team actually have a normal sports team progression of actually building on success. So that's going to be the conversation coming up for this team, and I think they've got the right coach to do it. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Thank you all so much for listening. We promise we will be back live next Monday, 8:30 p.m., talking about all the action that we have. We have 2 games we're going to have to cover. We're going to have women's national team to talk about, all kinds of great stuff. Patreon.com/RFK Refugees. Go to the Twitch channel. If you have Amazon Prime, go ahead, drop that free Prime subscription. I caught up on that, so I'm good to go for the next month. Definitely catch up on that. Also, Twitter, we're everywhere. Listen, tell your friends, do all that stuff. John's going to have stickers at the game on Wednesday. I know he's going to remember to bring those.
I will.
So definitely see John for a sticker. And again, spread the love to your friends. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll catch you guys next week. Vamos.
Vamos.